All right, let's dive into one of my favorite books, Carl Sagan's The Dragons of Eden. This is an absolutely mind-bending journey into one of life's biggest mysteries. How in the world did we end up with this thing? Our conscious, intelligent human mind.
So let's kick things off with a simple question. What do you, right now, have in common with a Tyrannosaurus rex? The answer is, well, it's a lot more than you think, and it's hiding deep inside the oldest, most ancient part of your brain. To really understand how, we've got to zoom way, way out.
To get a handle on how our intelligence evolved, Sagan asks us to imagine something really cool. He wants us to squish the entire 15 billion-year history of the universe down into just one single calendar year.
So, on this cosmic calendar, the Big Bang happens at the stroke of midnight on January 1st. Our own galaxy, the Milky Way, doesn't even form until May. Earth, our home planet, it's a latecomer, not showing up until mid-September. The dinosaurs, they make their big entrance on Christmas Eve, December 24th. And us, the first humans, we don't even get on the scene until about 10:30 at night on New Year's Eve.
And here's the part that really blows my mind. Every single thing we think of as human history, every war, every invention, every song, every empire, all of it, the whole shebang, happens in the last 10 seconds of the year. We are just cosmic babies. And knowing that, that's the key to understanding the insane, explosive growth of our brain.
So how did life go from a simple little organism to, well, to us, in what is basically the blink of a cosmic eye? At its core, the story of evolution is really a story about one thing: storing information. You know, the most basic unit of information is called a bit. It's just a simple yes or no, a 1 or a 0. Every single instruction for how to build and run a living thing is coded in these bits. And for almost all of history, the only place to store that information was in our genes.
Think about it like this. Your DNA, your genetic code, is the hardware. It's super reliable, but it takes forever to upgrade. We're talking hundreds of thousands of years for any real changes. But then, evolution came up with something new, the brain. And the brain, that's the software. It's fast, it's flexible, and you can update it every single day of your life.
Let's put some numbers to this. A simple little bacterium, right? It has about 10 million bits of information stored in its DNA. That's its entire instruction manual for how to live. Not bad for a single cell.
Okay, now look at this. This is the estimated number of bits the human brain can store. That's about 10 trillion. The leap from 10 million to 10 trillion is just staggering. It shows you that evolution decided to go all in on a brand new strategy. The brain was going to be the new library of survival.
Okay, so how did nature organize this unbelievable flood of new information? Well, evolution is more of a tinkerer than an engineer. It almost never throws away an old design. Instead, it just builds new stuff right on top of the old stuff. And our brain, it's the perfect example of this.
Sagan talks about this really great model from neuroscientist Paul MacLean called the triune brain. The idea is that you don't just have one brain, you actually have 3 brains all stacked on top of each other like archaeological layers, and each one comes from a totally different point in our evolution. So, down in the basement, the oldest and deepest part is what we call the reptilian complex, or R complex. This is your inner dragon, your inner lizard. This is where all the primal stuff lives: aggression, territoriality, ritual, social pecking orders, pure, raw instinct.
Now, wrapped around that ancient core is the next layer, the limbic system. We got this from the very first mammals, and it introduced a total game changer to the world: emotions. This is the part of your brain that handles moods, affection, caring for your young, and even love. It painted a whole world of feeling over the cold, hard instance of the R complex.
And finally, on top of everything else, we have the crowning achievement, the neocortex. This is the new kid on the block, and in us humans, it's enormous. This is the home of abstract thought, of language, of reason, of art. It's the part of you that is literally thinking about this idea right now.
Now, here's the crucial thing to understand. Just because the neocortex showed up doesn't mean the other 2 brains packed up and left. Oh no, they are still very much online, and they are pulling the strings of our modern lives in ways we barely even notice.
I mean, just think about it. That flash of road rage you feel, that urge to defend your territory at work, our obsession with social status and hierarchies, the rigid rituals we see in politics and bureaucracy. Sagan argues that's not just your personality. That's the ancient R complex, your inner reptile, still driving your behavior in the 21st century.
This quote from Paul MacLean just says it all, doesn't it? We are constantly looking at the world through 3 different sets of eyes, all at the same time. We have 3 different minds, each with its own way of thinking, its own memories, its own agenda.
And that leads us to the final fascinating question that Sagan leaves us with. If you have these 3 different characters all living in your head, the cold-blooded reptile, the emotional mammal, and the logical human, all yelling for control, who's actually flying the plane? Who gets to hold the reins? That messy, complicated, and beautiful conflict, well, that's what it means to be human.